All right. Okay. Welcome to the Curious Cat Show. I'm LK, Lucky Cat. And this is Lucky Cat Wisdom. I hope you're having a great day today. I was just looking at my lights here and I'm like, and then once again, Lucky Cat has to fiddle with things. Oh, here it is. Ha 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 ha. Yes, indeed. I guess maybe a little more time setting it up and getting it ready would be appropriate. But anyway, it is what it is, and it is this today. Lucky Cat Wisdom. I tell you what, I've got so many different things on my mind today. Hard to say which direction we'll go in. Because a lot of what I do is I just speak to you from what is actually happening to me in real time. What I'm maybe reading or learning or seeing. So I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to look out my window. Just to the north of me is a tire shop. And on that tire shop are the words alignment, brakes, and shocks. And so I've been thinking about those three things, alignment, brakes, and shocks, because I see it every single day, multiple times a day when I look out my window that goes actually to the south, not the north, sorry, the south. And I see that on a daily basis, and I just keep thinking alignment, brakes, and shocks. How does this apply to my life? How does this apply to the spiritual life and the path that I am currently on? And it's not too hard to figure that one out, actually, as you begin to think about it, contemplate it, and meditate on it. Alignment is really necessary in our lives, and a way in which we can become aligned is, through the inner knowledge and the inner workings of the spirit, and we get there through meditation. We all know when we can feel like things are just not right, like we are out of alignment with what is true to us. Maybe something is taking place and somebody's trying to put more pressure on you and they want more out of you. Or maybe there's an opportunity that you think you'd like to take, but as you begin to explore it, you realize this is not really in alignment with who I am or where I want to go, and it just doesn't feel right. So alignment is very important. For me, that's an easy one. And in the spiritual life and spiritual path, we talk a lot about alignment. But brakes, I had to think about that for a little bit. What is the importance of brakes? In a vehicle of any kind, brakes are supremely important. Because as we get going on these wheels, whether it's 4 wheels, 6 wheels, an 18-wheeler, maybe it's just 2 wheels, we can get momentum, we can get speed up, and we're in big trouble if the brakes go out. Had some good friends of mine tell me a story. They were in their motorhome coming down a mountain, and they lost their brakes. Can you imagine how frightening that is to lose your brakes? We see here in the mountains a lot of places where there's a place where you can exit off on a ramp that goes right up the mountain, which is just full of gravel and sand and different things to slow these big trucks down if they lose their brakes. So brakes are very important. I have 2 e-bikes. I have an older one, the kind of original bike that came out, and now I have a newer one. In my original bike, it has the old disc brakes, and you got to really squeeze those puppies to slow yourself down and to stop. And the stopping distance on those it takes longer to stop with the disc brakes. Well, I got an upgrade and I got a new bike, and that bike has hydraulic brakes on it, which are much better. It takes less effort to slow down and less effort to stop, and you can stop quicker. This is very, very important in an instance where you need to stop. And so brakes are very important. In fact, one day I was riding my older bike and I came around the RV, and I think I had kind of forgotten that I was on the older bike with the old disc brakes. And as I came around the corner, I had too much momentum and I needed to stop. And so I applied the brakes, but they didn't slow me down enough, and I ran right in to Kim's grill. And I put a dent in her grill. I fell off the bike from the impact, and I broke my controller that controls part of my bike, a button on there. I busted that, all because the brakes weren't adequate to stop me. Now, here's the point I want to make, is that in our life, brakes are important. In fact, we need a mechanism in our life to slow us down and to stop us. We need good intuition. Our intuition can act as a brake and stop us from doing something or slow us down enough until we get it right, so that we don't crash and burn, have an accident, hurt ourselves, hurt others. Brakes are very, very important. I've had situations in my life where I just knew I was sped up. I was just going too fast, too fast. I was in the mind. I was hurrying. I was rushing. I was trying to get too much done. And there was a sense and feeling, I need to slow down. But you got a real problem if you don't have a good braking mechanism and something to slow you down. And meditation really works well for me. Meditation helps to slow me down. Another good break in my life is my cat, Jax. I'll sit in my chair and my mind may be going, and I may be thinking of all the things I want to do or whatever, and here he comes. Meow, meow, meow. And he jumps up on me and he gets up on my chest and he slows me down. He's like this brake, this furry black and white brake. B-R-A-K-E, that gives me a break, a B-R-E-A-K, and slows me down. So alignment and brakes and shocks. Well, life can be pretty smooth at times. It can be pretty nice, but we all know that it can also be very bumpy. There can be a lot of potholes in our life, and we might be going down a road that's just been freshly paved. They've been doing some work out here south of town where I live, and they've just repaved it, and it's nice and smooth, and it feels great. But there are other places in the road and the roads around where I live where they're really bad. The potholes are horrendous. The roads are bumpy, and that's just in town. We just recently bought a different Jeep because we wanted to get off the roads so that we could get onto the trails where it's really bumpy and narrow, and you're really taking some rough roads out there. And the tires are super important, but so are the shocks. So here we go. Life can either be smooth at times, it can be semi-bumpy, or sometimes it can be one hell of a ride. And you need some shocks. You need some good shock absorbers. Well, what are some of the shock absorbers that help you in life? The main one that comes to my mind right now, just off the top of my mind, is love. When love is in our life and expressed in our life, and we're feeling love and we're feeling kindness and we're feeling gentleness and we're feeling patience, and we're really there, it's a shock absorber, because you're going through life, and if you got good shocks and you got that in your life, you're just, well, yeah, it's a little bumpy here and a little bumpy there, but here we go. We're okay. We got our shocks are good. But what if you don't have that? What if your shocks suck, or you don't have them, or they're just old and uneven and don't work? You notice it. You're like, this car is crap. It's not necessarily the car that's crap. It's just that the shocks and shock absorbers don't work well. Something's wrong. They need work. Again, back to the illustration of my two e-bikes. My old e-bike has no shocks on it, period. The front fork is just solid. The back is solid. The post on the seat was solid. It was just like... But the newer bike that has the hydraulic brakes, well, it also has shocks on the front of the forks, and the seat has shocks. It's just it's a nicer ride. It's more comfortable. It's better, we would say, and safer. Because when you're going over bumps and you have some good shocks, that helps you as you're steering and riding. But if you have no shocks, ah, you're off in the ditch somewhere.
911. What's your emergency?
So all of these are important. Being in alignment, having good brakes to stop, and those shock absorbers in your life. And the only thing I can say to you is that sometimes we need to take our vehicle over there and get things worked out on right. And sometimes we need to take this vehicle, our body and our spirit and our mind and all that we are, and maybe go lay down on the couch over there, wherever it is. I can't point to it. Over there. And meditate. Take ourselves into the shop so that we can get in alignment and we can get those brakes working good and we can get the shocks working good, so that we can have a much happier, smoother life. Well, I don't know. I hope that benefited you. Maybe somebody out there is feeling a little wackadoo, and a word like this just kind of helps you get back and say, yes, I need to get in alignment. I need to listen to and apply the brakes, and I need to put a lot of love and patience and kindness in as shock absorbers, because life can be a very bumpy road. Well, that's it, and that's all on the Curious Cat Show on today's edition of Lucky Cat Wisdom. Remember, we are the Curious Cat Show. I am your host, LK Lucky Cat, and we're the only one that curious cats ask for by name. Thank you.